Have you ever felt that deep instinct in your stomach warning you that something is seriously wrong? Like stepping into a space where the atmosphere suddenly turns thick and oppressive. That was exactly me, standing frozen in the corridor of my own house, gripping a fountain pen as if it were a loaded gun. I was just moments from signing away my entire existence to my wife, Claudia. We're talking about 2 decades of blood, sweat, sleepless nights, and constructing a massive logistics empire starting from absolute zero. But I was exhausted to my core, emotionally wiped out from all the endless arguments and icy silences. I had instructed my lawyers to hand her literally everything: the luxurious mansion, the holiday properties, the investment portfolios, all of it. I believed I was purchasing my peace. I assumed my generosity would at least get me some dignity as I walked away. But reality often reveals its brutal truth right before you cross the irreversible line. As I headed toward the study where the notary waited, I caught it, a laugh, not a sorrowful or anxious chuckle. It was sharp, musical, and overflowing with victory. It echoed from our master bedroom. Then came a second voice, deep, all too familiar, that froze my blood solid. It was Simon, my financial advisor, the man who handled my fortune, and I believed my closest friend. They weren't merely chatting. They were rejoicing. I remained hidden in the darkness, completely paralyzed, listening as they mocked my guilt-fueled foolishness. Claudia boasted how unbelievably simple it was to act like the victim and watch me surrender the entire kingdom. They discussed a carefully planned scheme that had been running for 3 full years, secretly diverting my own company funds into hidden accounts to finance their fresh start together in France. She referred to me as nothing more than convenient ATM and laughed about creating fake marital conflicts to keep me occupied while they empty my pockets. The woman I once adored and the man I fully trusted were literally toasting the ruins of my career. But they committed one enormous error. They underestimated exactly who they were messing with. They assumed they were burying a destroyed man. Instead, they had only awakened a beast. Most guys would have smashed that door open. They would have yelled, raged, and caused a spectacle the entire neighborhood would gossip about for years. But I didn't. I stayed concealed in that hallway's shadows and felt a cold, precise fury wrap around me like protective armor. They saw me as a useful bank account. But they forgot that the same brilliant mind that created a worldwide logistics empire is the same mind capable of destroying those who get too greedy and cocky. I quietly turned around, returned to my study, and called my head attorney's private number. I gave him one clear order: freeze every single account Simon has access to and get ready for an all-out legal war that would make our previous settlement look like a children's fairy tale. The quietness of the house became my strongest weapon. I sat at my desk and activated the security cameras, observing Claudia and Simon on the screen as they toasted to a future they would never live. I didn't stop with just the lawyers. I reached out to a top-tier forensic accounting team I had kept on standby for years. I instructed them to trigger the dead man switch on my main assets, a safeguard I had secretly prepared months earlier when I first sent Simon's betrayal. In under 30 minutes, the hidden structure they built started collapsing. Every illegal transfer and stolen dollar was now marked as serious interstate financial crime. Right as their systems got locked down, Claudia entered the study wearing her carefully practiced expression of sadness she had mastered for the signing. She walked in and saw me sitting there calmly. The pen had disappeared and the divorce documents were already torn to pieces in the trash. She began her usual act, asking what was wrong in that phony, shaky voice that once shattered my heart, but now only disgusted me. I stayed completely silent. I simply rotated the monitor toward her and displayed the live footage of her secret offshore accounts being seized by officials. You should have witnessed her reaction. That arrogant victory on her face disappeared instantly. She had to clutch the desk to stop herself from collapsing. Then Simon stormed in, drenched in sweat and panicking, yelling that his access codes were all canceled. I looked at the man I had called a friend for 10 years and felt nothing except cold professional contempt as I informed him that the state prosecutor was already examining the proof of his embezzlement. I gave them both exactly 1 hour to pack one suitcase before security would remove them from the premises, warning that any attempt to take anything more would result in immediate theft charges. She tried screaming that the house now belonged to her, but I reminded her that any agreement signed through deception is worth less than the paper it's written on. She wanted to know if I was truly as foolish as she thought, and she discovered that I was the only one who had actually been shielding her from her own greed. The conclusion of our story wasn't a slow, painful process or a lengthy court fight. It was a complete and total destruction of the life Claudia had spent years plotting to steal. As she and Simon were escorted down the driveway by my security team, the neighbors stood watching in heavy, condemning silence, finally seeing her true nature. The social reputation she valued so highly was destroyed into a million fragments before she even reached the street. I watched them leave from the balcony, and for the first time in 20 years, I could truly breathe again. That useful bank account she had ridiculed was the only thing keeping me stable, while she marched straight into a nightmare of legal troubles and the complete absence of the luxury she desperately wanted. I didn't stay to see things calm down either. Within a month, I moved my entire business to a different city. I listed the estate for sale and donated every single penny from the proceeds to a charity that helps victims of financial abuse. I thought it was a perfect final twist that Claudia would absolutely hate. I learned a painful lesson in that hallway. I learned that some signatures are meant to be written with ink, but the most crucial ones are the ones you refuse to sign once you finally discover the truth. The legacy I'm creating now has no secret backdoors or hidden accounts. It belongs completely to me. I am home. I am finally free. And for the first time in 20 years, I'm the one holding all the cards. I am curious, which part of the country are you listening to this story from? And did you know that nearly 80% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet? If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button.